Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all of our audience. I'm Ross Moore, a full-time cybersecurity analyst, freelance information security researcher and writer, and a board member for SecJuice. People often think about cybersecurity in terms of firewalls, programming languages, ransomware, AI, and all the technical pieces. But one of the most important skills in security today isn't technical, it's the ability to communicate, to explain, to teach, to make people care. With artificial intelligence generating content at incredible speed, our human ability becomes even more important. I want to talk about the power of writing in cybersecurity, how writing sharpens thinking, builds influence, helps organizations make better decisions, and why the people who can combine technical knowledge with human communication are going to have a huge advantage in the AI era. The great thing is, you don't have to be a professional writer to do it. One of cybersecurity's biggest failures are communication failures. Cybersecurity is technically complex, yes. But some of our biggest failures, if not the biggest roots of failure, are in communication, which can be complex but in a human way. Not all people speak, read, or listen the same way. We spend billions on security tools, firewalls, EDR, AI-driven detection. One estimate shows that enterprise AI cybersecurity investment reached $213 billion globally in 2025, with AI-specific tools capturing 36% of cybersecurity budgets. But there are still data breaches where the warning signs were there, but they weren't understood, or they weren't acted upon because the message didn't land, or was heard but they didn't listen. This communication is not relegated to, we need to talk more in Slack, we need more channels and Teams, we need more email and text. What we need are practitioners and professionals who are not only able to wordsmith, but able to implement proper technology for monitoring, alerting, and triage, and then able to convey any dangers to the appropriate teams. We're not talking about replacing security professionals with AI. We're talking about how AI is changing how we research, how we draft, how we analyze, and how we decide. The professionals who will lead the next stage of security are the ones who, in addition to knowing the technical side, can write the clearest stories and use AI with the most wisdom. Please note, there's so much to say about writing, information security, and AI that it's impossible to cover everything in any presentation. There may be obvious things left out, but there's only so much time to actually spend here. By the time I've written, recorded, and presented this presentation, who knows how much more news there is about data breaches, cyber attacks, new groundbreaking research, some new AI model, on, and faster than ever. Let's keep going. Imagine two analysts. Analyst A is brilliant, finding a critical vulnerability in the core infrastructure. It gets fixed, the ticket gets logged, end of day, and off to home. Analyst B finds the exact same vulnerability and fixes it. But B writes a clear, concise report explaining why it happened, how it was exploited, and what the business risk is. Analyst B presents this to the engineering lead and to the CISO. 6 months later, a similar attack happens elsewhere. Analyst A's organization is blindsided again because the knowledge died in the ticket. Analyst B's organization recognizes the pattern immediately because the lesson was communicated. Same technical skill, completely different outcomes. The difference wasn't in the code, it was in the communication. This lack of clarity in an organization, whether from technical or business leadership, has always been a problem. It could be from not knowing the true capabilities of an app, the belief that a product would be an all-in-one solution that would even eliminate having to talk to other people, or one department not knowing how to truly communicate effectively with another department. In the new tech world that surrounds us, that's driven by AI, where technical tasks are increasingly automated at an unimaginable speed, the ability to make your work visible and understandable is your superpower. Look at the history of our industry. At one time, the hero was the hacker who could find the exploit. The skill was technical curiosity. Then there was the cloud, the hero who was the architect. The hero was the architect who could design scalable, secure systems. The skill was structural thinking. Along came mobile. The hero was the UX expert who could secure the device without ruining the experience. Now, in this AI era, the rules have changed again. AI can write code, scan logs, find patterns, and even create working apps faster than any human. Side note here, human in the loop seems like common sense, but many consider it unnecessary to get things going. Case in point, in early May of this year, Red Access reported that 5,000 vibe-coded resources revealed sensitive corporate information. This was because developers got carried away by using default settings, not the secure settings. Shadow AI is the new S3 bucket situation. It's not that the product is bad, it's that those creating the resources aren't thinking about proper secure development. So what are the new skills? They are communication, synthesis, storytelling, and explanation. AI handles the what and the how. People have to understand and present the so what and the now what. Let's look at the iceberg. Above the water you see the reports, the alerts, the meetings. That's what leadership sees. But below the water, that's the massive, submerged mass of investigations, lessons learned, insights, failures, and brilliant ideas that never made it out of the analyst's head or their private Slack channels. Someone fixing an issue, not documenting it, or documenting it and not sharing or tagging it properly. Then leaving the company for whatever reason, then 6 months later the same issue occurs and the remaining or new team has to redo it all. That's a waste of resources. And that's a security failure. Writing isn't just documentation, it's preservation. It's the only way to turn individual effort into organizational resilience. You might be familiar with the phrase, pictures or it didn't happen. In the audit world, if it isn't written, it doesn't exist. In information security, if it isn't documented, it didn't happen. It's easy to treat writing as the final step, something we do after the thinking is done. But in cybersecurity, writing is the thinking. When you're staring at a complex log file or a confusing network topology, your brain is fuzzy. You have half-formed theories, but the moment you try to put together a sentence explaining it, you hit a wall. You realize, wait, I don't actually know how this connects. Writing forces us to fill those gaps. It reveals the holes in our logic and hones our analysis. A tip. We all have different ways of thinking. Lately, I've been recording my security and writing related thoughts on my phone and transcribing the audio. So no need to write everything right away. Don't wait until you have the perfect answer to write. Start writing to find the answer. Writing is applied thinking. It's a tool in our life's toolbox that we use to clarify our own thoughts before we try to convince anyone else. A common quip is, if you can't explain it clearly, you might not understand it. That's a partial truth. Not everyone is trying to teach the concept to someone. Not all analysts are trying to explain it fully, so don't feel bad if you just can't get the right verbiage across right away. But in an organizational context, you will need to get the point across somehow. If you have trouble, get a friend, coworker, or an LLM to rewrite it for you. A couple cautions. Be very aware and cautious of what you A. share with anyone who helps, and or B. upload. Don't ever share, either personally or virtually, sensitive data such as client or corporate confidential information. While you trust your friend, it could be breaking your contract if you share. And an LLM that's out of your control is a bad thing. As you do more writing, you'll learn along the way how to communicate to different audiences and communicate as you. You'll learn to untangle and properly straighten that onslaught of words. That's what we're about at SecJuice, having a platform for information security people to write better, write about what you're interested in, to communicate more, and do it in your own voice. With all of this in mind, let's move to Act 1 about writing as a security control. A vague policy gets ignored. A clear, actionable policy, it gets followed. A messy incident report, recovery takes days. A crisp, structured report, recovery takes hours. A confusing executive summary, leaders make bad bets. A clear, risk-focused summary, leaders allocate the budget you need. Writing affects policy, incident response, awareness training, threat intelligence, and executive reporting. It's not a soft skill or nice to have. It's an operational necessity. If your writing is weak, your security posture is weak. Writing well leads to shared understanding, leads to faster action, leads to better security outcomes. A note on policy writing. Each policy doesn't have to be a work of art and full of unwieldy verbiage, but in the end, all the policies together will be quite long. Make your policies only as long as they need to be, but also be aware that others may gripe about how long it all is. Be ready to give an answer. And on that point about giving an answer, policies and processes should exist only as necessary. Don't make things up just to make life harder. Like writing, every line should exist for a reason. In cybersecurity, writing is how insight becomes action. In a crisis, chaos is the enemy. Good writing turns noise into action. Imagine a ransomware attack. You have hundreds of alerts. A vague alert says, "Suspicious activity detected on server X." What do? Nothing. You're busy. A sharp alert says, "Server X is communicating with known C2 IP. Scope, Finance Department, impact, potential data exfiltration, next step, isolate immediately." That prompts action. Good writing clarifies priorities. It creates alignment across teams. It preserves knowledge for the future. And most importantly, it accelerates response. In the time it takes to decipher a bad report, you could have contained a breach. The difference between an incident and a headline disaster is in part determined by how long it takes to discover and contain an intrusion. The sooner your teams understand what's going on, the sooner the compromise gets halted. Microsoft has a good page about AI in cybersecurity, and the screenshots above focus on the importance of simplified reporting, skill enhancement, actionable insights, and good policies that practitioners can leverage from using AI. Please note, I am not promoting Microsoft. I'm only using them as an example, just like I do with other vendors and apps throughout this presentation. Use whatever tools or platforms you like. But as writers and analysts, in our pursuit of information and education, let's not dismiss good information just because we don't like a source, and don't automatically trust information from a source just because we prefer that source. A tough part of the job is you have one truth, but you have 4 different audiences. If you tell the engineers they need precision, the hash, the port, the CVE ID. If you tell the executives they need business impact, they need to know, will we lose money? Will we lose customers? How much time will this take? If you tell the end users they need plain language, no jargon, just don't click this link. And if you tell the auditors they need traceability, they need to know the chain of custody and the compliance mapping. Always include the timestamp with a screenshot. The best security professionals are translators. They can take the same technical reality and translate it into 4 different languages without changing the truth. That's a leadership skill, and it's one that can be learned. I know that Log4j is a newer version right now than 2.17, which you'll see on the screen. I think it's on 2.25 or 26, but it's the example I came across. We often think of attackers as hackers in hoodies typing code, but the most successful attackers are storytellers. Social engineering is narrative manipulation. A phishing email isn't just a link, it's a story about urgency. Your account will be closed. Fear, we detected a breach. Or authority, the CEO needs this wire transfer now. In February of 2026, the automotive marketplace CarGurus was the target of a data breach attributed to the threat actor Shiny Hunters. It was part of the gang's code stealing spree in which they used voice phishing to obtain single sign-on codes from users of Okta, Microsoft, and Google. Social engineering, crafting a story convincing enough to catch people unawares, wins time and time again. Social engineers weaponize a person's inner workings. They understand the narrative better than we do. If defenders are just looking for signatures and patterns, we are playing defense. We need to become better storytellers too. We need to craft narratives that resonate with our users, that make security feel like a shared mission, not a roadblock. We have to out-narrate the attacker. We definitely need heroes. Heroes inspire, but attackers are often the first ones to tell us the truth. Let's talk about your career. In a world where AI can generate code and run scans, what makes you valuable? It's your voice. It's your perspective. Writing creates career leverage. When you write an article, post on LinkedIn, give a presentation, or even write a clear internal memo, you build visibility. Visibility brings compound interest. Your ideas outlive your title and your company. Your writing becomes scalable. Instead of helping one team, you potentially help thousands. In the AI era, where content is cheap, authentic human insight is a premium. Your unique experience, your specific way of seeing problems, that's your legacy. Start writing it down. Let's look at some avenues. My top pick is SecJuice. It's long-standing, good reputation, international audience. Substack, very popular, has good capabilities. Building your audience, though, can take a long time. Your own workplace or school, emails, reports, messages, those are all valuable. LinkedIn, it's simple, direct, but it takes time to build an audience if you can hack the algorithm. But don't limit yourself. Why not try all of them? And more, there's a lot out there to help you write. Pro tip. Like any real writing, you may not get much feedback from your audience. Writers only hear a fraction, if any, of their audience's thoughts. It's often the lack of interaction from readers that disappoints writers the most. But don't let it get you down. Take any kind of good interaction or good feedback that you can as an encouragement. Now we're on to Act 2 of 3, where AI changes the workflow. For decades, attackers had to scale manually, or even with automation. It's funny how automation seems old now in light of all the AI talk, but AI is here and changes that old style. AI brings in whole new dimensions while all the previous techniques are still around. There's phishing personalization, deepfake social engineering. Just look up anywhere to see some amazing AI videos. There's malware generation, reconnaissance automation, synthetic identities. AI compresses the time between vulnerability and exploitation. It compresses attack development. Reconnaissance is more powerful, more accurate, faster. Attackers are using AI to generate polymorphic malware and craft perfect phishing emails in seconds. AI compresses the ability of criminals to gather intel. Everything is moving faster. The gap between attack starts and damage done is shrinking. The question isn't just are we moving fast enough, it's are we moving accurately enough. Speed without direction is just a faster crash. AI's benefits become defensive augmentation, faster analysis, anomaly detection, triage, threat intelligence, synthesis, simulation, scenario generation. Both heroes and villains now have the same weapon. As with the attacker, AI compresses analysis time. What used to take a team days of log review now takes minutes. Vulns can be fixed faster. Threat hunting is less time consuming. The mundane tasks can be sped up. Better intel can be gathered and delivered faster. AI is a force multiplier. It allows a single analyst to do the work of 10. It helps summarize logs, draft and summarize reports, create training materials, analyze malware samples, and automate workflows. But here's the important distinction. AI amplifies capability, not expertise. Skilled professionals can use AI to be superheroes. For the unskilled and untrained, AI just makes them more efficiently wrong. AI doesn't replace the need for proper and practical understanding. It replaces the drudgery. It frees up people to do the high-value thinking, but you still need to be the one thinking. Use AI. Don't let it use you. Let's get practical. Where should you actually use AI? Don't use it to make the final decision. Use it to do the heavy lifting. Summarize those 500 lines of logs into a 3-sentence brief. Draft the first version of an incident report so you don't stare at a blank screen. Prioritize vulnerabilities by correlating them with your asset inventory. Generate questionnaire responses for compliance. Summarize that pen test or some other third-party report. Important reminder and a note. Don't ever upload corporate, sensitive, private, confidential, proprietary information to any unauthorized and uncontrolled LLM or AI tools. Ensure that whatever tool you use is properly secured, authorized, and under contractual obligations to protect your information and not train the vendor's models on your data. You have to read the fine print in the contract, terms of service, privacy policy, terms and conditions, documentation, etc. It can be tough, but that's what proper vetting of AI entails. The goal is not AI everywhere. The goal is AI where it reduces friction. Use it to remove the boring stuff so you can focus on the hard stuff. AI sorts faster, summarizes faster, makes drafts faster, gathers sources faster. AI is amazing. We have to be realistic. The same tools that help us are helping the bad guys. AI phishing is very good. Voice cloning is indistinguishable from reality. Synthetic identities are flooding the internet. Automated social engineering is scaling attacks to a level we've never seen. This isn't fear-mongering, it's reality. We're in an arms race where both sides have the same tools. The difference will be who uses them with more wisdom, more ethics, and more human judgment. More about synthetic identities. Creating fake personas has been around a long time, but AI enables rapid, automated generation of realistic supporting documents, deepfake biometric data, and consistent social media histories. Gen AI tools allow criminals to iterate on failed applications, mimic human communication styles for social engineering, and bypass traditional verification systems that rely on static data checks rather than behavioral analysis. With AI, the old attacks remain while the number and type of attacks increase. But don't fear. AI defensive capabilities are like other resources. The old resources don't disappear. AI actually adds to the capabilities that defenders and creators can use. AI creates infinite content. It can generate 1 million reports in an hour. But here's the trap. More information does not equal more understanding. We're drowning in data, but starving for wisdom. You can see here on the screen, by the end of 2026, global data creation is projected to reach 221 zettabytes. And a zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. So this is increase of over 22% increase from what was generated in 2025. The daily creation, about 402 million terabytes. The traffic is going to be 143 exabytes per month, and it's going to be fueled by the rapid adoption of AI tools, which saw active users more than double to 2.42 billion in the past year, plus all the IoT devices. The flood of AI-generated content is overwhelming. If we just consume it, we'll drown. We need to be the filter, and we need to be the ones who cut through the noise. What is the valuable skill now? It's no longer finding information. A search in AI can find anything in seconds. The necessary and valuable skill is interpreting, filtering, prioritizing, and explaining. Anyone can find data, and regrettably, it's easier than ever for anybody and everybody to create and distribute mal information, bad data, misleading data. The questions that we need to ask and answer are, what does it mean? What matters? What do we do next? That can't be decided by the bot. Well, it shouldn't be decided by the bot. Here's where human judgment is irreplaceable. That's where you come in. How do we cut through the noise and find the signal? An example. Imagine trying to hear your friend speaking at a loud party. Your friend's voice is the signal. Everyone else talking is the noise. The challenge is not whether information exists. The challenge is identifying what actually matters. Modern security teams are drowning in information. They see alerts, logs, telemetry, emails, events, and warnings. Most of it changes nothing, matters little, and distracts from the real threat. For the signal, you're looking for that one indicator that reveals ransomware, compromise, insider threat, fraud, and active attack. Before AI, we struggled with too much information. After AI, we struggle with even more too much information. AI can generate infinite content, but people have to determine what matters. That is signal versus noise in the AI era. Generation is cheap. Judgment is expensive. AI can generate words. It can generate code and images, but it can't generate meaning. It can't present relevant decisions. This is why consulting, even internal subject matter experts, are in high demand. Everywhere you turn, there's a consultant ready to solve your problem. There's a lot of information out there, but lacking internal expertise on topic XYZ, it requires a personal, a one-on-one approach to help make the right decisions for each company. At some point, someone in charge is going to ask someone, make this make sense. That's your time to shine. In an era of infinite content, the ability to judge what is real and relevant is the most valuable asset you provide. Don't outsource your judgment to the algorithm. Keep it human. Where does AI fail? It hallucinates. It gives you confident answers that are completely wrong. It creates shallow summaries that miss the real meaning. You can just simply tell real writing. Thelonious Monk, an American jazz pianist and composer who lived from 1917 to 1982, said about jazz, "I don't have a definition of jazz. You're just supposed to know it when you hear it." It's like AI versus human writing. It's hard to describe, but you'll know it when you read it. There's a lot of noise about detecting AI writing. A problem with those AI writing detectors is that AI was trained on so many writings of authors who are about in their 50s. We were taught certain ways of writing, and like any students, we followed them. AI has, to echo something I saw recently from Elizabeth May, a romance novelist, that AI trained on writings by eating novels, quote, like a feral raccoon in a dumpster. Many grammar rules have changed, and the detectors are detecting that older style of writing on which the bot was trained as if it's AI style, but it's really mostly an older style. If you look at just about any top 10 ways to tell it's AI writing, about 7 or 8 of those are going to be, that's the way we wrote back then, and we still write like that. AI creates a sense of false confidence. It creates a tendency for people to trust a machine when it's wrong instead of people when they're right. In cybersecurity, being wrong is a dangerous thing. False positives, false negatives, misfired alerts. They need someone to make the real decision what to do. Human governance isn't a nice to have. You and I are accountable, not the algorithm. A case in point of responsibility, 2 recent MCP attacks involving Mitiga and Adversa were accomplished using agents. The agents had elevated privileges, but because they were agents authorized by the companies using the agents, the attacks were deemed as normal operations. The users, the people using the agents, were held responsible, not the vendor. As Dan Barahona put it in his article about the attacks, the trust dialogue is the boundary. Everything past that click is treated as authorized. Be aware of your responsibilities when using AI. It's not always clear, and providing clarity in your company could be a great practical way for you to explain what's involved in the use of AI at your org. Always verify, always question. You as the writer, as the analyst, as the researcher, can help your company find the signal. So what is the winning strategy? The hybrid model. Let AI handle the first draft. Let it handle the first pass. Let it do the correlation, but then you validate, you decide. Help define where AI adds value and where human governance is required. Build process discipline and create review gates, or go, no-go decision points. It's not about resisting AI. Almost every single company is inserting AI something or other into their product. Be responsible with it. Will it take less time? It depends. A single report may take less time, but the new demand is for more output and better quality. AI is the tool. Use it as needed to meet the new cybersecurity and business demands. You'll be able to make that report go faster and be able to make it and each other report better with better data, which leads to better business and operational decisions. Good security teams will be able to master this model, not be mastered by AI. Now to our final act, the human advantage. So what can AI never replace? Trust, empathy, ethics, leadership, intuition, meaning. These aren't bugs in the human system. They are features. In cybersecurity, we're dealing with human problems: deception, manipulation, trust failures. You can't automate trust. You can't algorithmize meaning. These are the things that make us human, and they are the things that make us essential. Let's zoom out. We're not protecting machines. We're protecting people. We're protecting the family using their bank account, the hospital saving lives, the school educating children, the infrastructure keeping the lights on. Every alert, every policy, every incident response is about human consequences. Keep that in mind when you write. Your words protect real lives. Never forget the human behind the data. 3 notable and extensive studies and documents regarding the ethics of AI in relation to people are Harvard's AI for Human Flourishing program and GLOO's, that's GLOO, Flourishing AI Initiative, and the Catholic Church put out in 2025, Antiqua et Nova. The future belongs to the explainers, not just the technicians, not just the managers, but the people who can bridge the gap between technical complexity and human understanding. Those who can translate the jargon into business impact. Those who can create clarity in chaos, who can build trust. That's you, and that's us. That's the future of our profession. And it doesn't have to be in writing. It could be visuals, diagrams, charts, videos, web conference, or video calls. Even scripts or communication. It doesn't have to be official writing either. It could be in email, chats, LinkedIn posts. Anything where you write will improve your ability to communicate. Try different media. You'll get better. And you might ask, how can I explain at work? Well, there's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. There are tabletop exercises, regular security awareness emails, bulletins, and etc. Be the internal explainer. Jump in whenever and wherever you can to provide valuable information. As synthetic content rises, human authenticity becomes more valuable. AI can generate words, but it can't generate lived experience. It can't generate the insight you gain from a 10-year career. It can't generate the intuition built from fixing 1,000 fires. Your perspective, your voice, your judgment, these are irreplaceable assets. Be authentic, be human. That is your competitive advantage. Let's talk about the craft. Write to think, not just to publish. Writing is how we clarify our own thinking, especially in uncertain situations. Good writing improves incident handling, policy design, and strategic planning because it forces precision. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start writing to figure it out. The act of writing is the value. I think that published writing, even a self-published book, is the new portfolio. You can write and write all you want, and publishing a book is a minimal cost. And that writing is not to make money, it's to build a reputation and provide a ready-made source for your experience, knowledge, and wisdom. Don't try to find your voice. You already have one. Go and make it better. Go improve and grow. What does good writing look like? It all depends. When I first started on this slide, I thought things such as clear, concise, accurate, audience-aware, actionable, updated. But then I realized, well, it really all depends on what you're doing. What are you writing? Not all InfoSec writing is about that. There's more. There's so much more than just a single way of writing. Some examples here on the screen. You got an intelligence bulletin. You're looking for awareness and risk clarity. The pen test report. Primary goal is action, and you're looking to present action points. Your personal InfoSec blog. You're looking for engagement, and you want authenticity. Security awareness. You're looking to personalize security and give clear direction. And it can be stories. It can be made up. Some of the stories can be made up, but you do want clear, actionable direction. And then the DFIR report, digital forensics and incident response. There's a precise process that goes into that, and you want clear procedures. Different audiences, different goals, different writing. What you see on the screen here is a simple Intel report from a recent webinar entitled Turn Cybersecurity Headlines into Action from Black Hills Information Security with Wade Wells, a detection and response engineer. So this gives good examples of well-written versus poorly written. For instance, name-specific TTPs with attack technique IDs versus vague threat descriptions with no TTP mapping. And then the last one ends with a detection or mitigation you can act on now versus ends with a product pitch, demo request, or webinar link. So ArcX and Attack IQ also have great courses about writing Intel reports, but look online and you'll find tons of resources for good Intel or good ways to write Intel reports and just about any other kind of writing. Here we are. We've reached the finale. Here are 3 challenges for you. 1. Write one thing publicly. A post, an article, a blog. Feel free to opine, assess, analyze, write up, or present findings. 2. Share your knowledge. Teach one thing internally. Mentor someone. Share what you know. And 3. Use AI to amplify your writing. Don't use the bot to replace your writing. Use it to get better. Start today. Don't wait for permission. In cybersecurity, clear writing is how expertise becomes action. AI generates words. People produce intelligence. The future belongs to cybersecurity professionals who can think clearly, write clearly, and use AI wisely. In cybersecurity, clarity is not cosmetic, it's protective. The better that risk is explained, the better you can defend. Thank you.